Samantha, and thank you everyone for joining me today. I really do appreciate this, and I'm excited too. I'm really excited because nanotechnology really is the wave of the future. This is something that is really kind of groundbreaking. You know, you're going to see a lot of it. You're going to see a lot of other companies picking up on it. And not just to be picking up on it, you're going to see really the help and the benefit that this provides. I'm going to make a few notes here in the beginning. We are in no ways trying to get you to change. Aqua-Yield products are designed to make your existing program better. So we're not trying to change your fungicide program or your nutrition program. We're here to try to help make it better. As good as some of this sounds and as happy and as much excitement as I have in the products, I have to kind of remind myself, it's not a silver bullet. It's going to be another tool for you, a very good tool. You can think of nanotechnology, when you think of it as a delivery system. We're going to make that delivery system of your nutrients, of your chemicals, your systemic chemicals, better, a lot more efficient, and a little bit more. Some people, when we talk to them about making their, the uptake of nutrients or chemicals better, they say, it's a chelation. Well, you can think of that part of it, yes, as being chelation, and that we're working to get it into the plant better. However, nanotechnology, and in particular, Aqua-Yield's Nano Shield technology goes a little bit further. It helps prevent nutrients from gassing off, so you don't lose things to volatilization. It also helps whatever nutrients get washed off of the plant, or if you decide to put it out through the irrigation system, it helps to not let it get bound tightly by the soil. It also helps to slow it down from leaching out of the soil so that your roots have a better chance of picking up whatever has made it to the soil. So it's more than just chelation. It's the future, and it's really going to be a game changer. So at this point, I'll start in with the slides. We'll do an introduction here of the company. They started at approximately 7 years ago. They're located in Utah. Nanotechnology has been around for anywhere from 50 to 60 years. It's in your cell phone. It's in the medications and the pharmaceuticals that you take. It's big in sunscreen. It's been in quite a few industries for a long time. It has just come about in the ag industry in about the last 10 to 15 years. People have decided to start to think about how can we take that technology and make it available to agriculture. Whether it's corn, soybean, turf, azaleas, it's being used anywhere. The company's background, their roots, is in sod. They were a sod farm out in Utah, and they got wind of nanotechnology and decided to use it on their sod production to see what benefit it could be. Reduction of phosphorus by 80% and bringing sod to market 6 months earlier than the control. That turned some heads. The fellows who are entrepreneurs, they went ahead and bought the technology and formed Aqua-Yield. When we talk about nanoparticles, there's a scale. Nano basically means 1/1,000,000th of a meter. So we're talking smaller than bacteria, smaller than a virus, larger than water particles, and also larger than the ions of the chemical or nutrients that you're putting out. So how do you provide nano to a plant? There's two ways. in nutrition, you could take the nitrogen or phosphorus or even copper. Copper is being studied for on the nano size for disease resistance and fungicidal properties. So you can take something and grind it down or mill it down to that nano sizing. That's one way of doing it. The other way is you can make a carrier, and this is how Aqua-Yield does things. You can see in the diagram there, it's just a drawing. Think of it as a hollow sphere with entrances to it. And what we're doing is we're going to load up those particles, those nano-sized particles, with our targeted product. So it's a delivery system that carries the product. What I'm going to try to do here to save a little bit of time is I'm going to put kind of the technology along with the product, and we'll go along that way. So the first product that we have is called NanoPro. NanoPro is a hollow nanoparticle which is used to help deliver a systemic product, whether it's a systemic fungicide, herbicide. It can also be used for some of your biologicals, helping humic acid and kelp to get into a plant better. But we'll talk about herbicides first. So what you do is you take your spray tank, you're going to fill it up a good bit of the way, halfway, 2/3 of the way, and you're going to add these nanoparticles in solution into your tank. They're going to get dispersed, and then you're going to add, let's say it's 2,4-D that you're spraying today. You're going to add your rate of 2,4-D to the tank. Now what happens is that 2,4-D, as it breaks up and comes thins out in the tank, is attracted to the outside of the nanoparticle. From there, from high concentration to low concentration, it starts to fill up that nanoparticle. Once that particle is filled up, you still will have some remaining attached to the outside of the particle. Now, what does that do? The way it works is this. Most chemicals are, when you spray them, they're going to be diffused and spread out. They're going to need the traditional ways of getting into the plant. Nanoparticles, and it's also going to be going in one ion at a time. The benefit that you really get out of using the nanotechnology is there's more than one way that the nanoparticle gets into the plant. First of all, it can do the common ways and making it in through the various entry points. The other thing that happens is nanoparticles will actually kind of scarify the leaf. They'll kind of lodge themselves into the leaf and stay there. It helps protect them from being washed off. It holds the product there. And then you will go from higher concentration to lower concentration into the plant. But you're also delivering a larger amount in at that site. But the main way that it's taken in is called endocytosis. And endocytosis is basically the plant has an affinity, it likes nanoparticles, and the cells will actually swallow a nanoparticle. So now you're getting your chemical or your nutrient right into the cell at the cellular level. And there's where we really start to work with efficiency. You're dumping a lot of material into the plant at one time. So we'll go to this slide here. What we're seeing is overall efficiency, better kill, more complete kill, shorter amount of time, and a lot of times being used at a less rate, a lower AI. So we're kind of, the benefits here are quality of product, reducing the amount AI from an environmental standpoint, and really from a dollar and cents standpoint. I have to say this too, we're going to kind of give a disclaimer here in that not all is known yet about this nanotechnology. For example, the way things occur here in the large world, the world that we live in particular physics, is not how things happen in the world of the nano size. For example, you could have an element here in the big world that is not conductive. However, you work with it on the nano level, and now that element can be conductive. It can conduct electricity, or it can become photovalent and flash colors due to light at the nano level. And the reason I say that is for this. If we look at this chart, the product on the left, they used a 70% reduction. 70% reduction in the amount of the AI was no good. Whether it was by itself or with the NanoPro, it was no help. If you look at the full rate, there's no difference. Again, you would think that NanoPro is supposed to help to get product into the plant better, but at the nano size and the full rate, it didn't show. Where it shows is when you take a 40% reduction, now look how much more product you're getting into the plant with the nano product. And the moral of the story here is a 40% reduction was probably a little bit too much. If you were to take a 30% reduction or down to a 25% reduction, you're probably going to get about the same result as a full AI rate. And that's what they've seen pretty much across the board. They've tested a lot of chemicals out there. They like to say they've tested everything, but there's always new products coming out. It seems that 25 to 30% reduction seems to be the sweet spot where you get better use, better efficacy, save money, better kill. It is the opposite, though, for glyphosate, for Roundup. Roundup at reduced rates, it does not seem to hold true, but Roundup used at full rate with NanoPro gives a much higher kill faster. The other advantage to it is a lot of the Roundup resistant weeds, and they've only discovered this in about the last 1.5 to 2 years. They're finding out that the hard to kill Roundup resistant weeds are getting whacked, so to speak, when NanoPro is used. So again, that efficiency really helps. This is showing white clover from the University of Tennessee. That's the other thing. They do have quite a bit of university testing, as well as on-farm and on-course testing. This goes to show what's actually happening in the plant. It's with glyphosate, regular rate, 4 ounces. That's another nice thing. All nano products are simple to remember. It's 4 ounces to the acre. The top shows with NanoPro. The bottom numbers show without NanoPro. And you're looking at getting 28% higher material into the plant tissue. So this was designed to show that you are getting more product into the plant, both the glyphosate and the glyphosate metabolite. Here we have another herbicide, Widematch. Widematch label rate is upper end is 21 ounces, and the low end on Widematch is 16 ounces. And you'll see when it was used with NanoPro at the low rate, you actually get slightly higher response than the full Widematch. So not only herbicides, but systemic fungicides are also made to work or help to work a lot more efficiently. This is showing fusarium on turf with a 30% rate reduction, getting the same results as 100% fungicide rate. So I'm going to stop for a moment and ask if there's any questions. I've kind of just blown along there pretty quick. Any questions?
Got one for you, Chris.
Okay.
Will it enhance any granular applications as well, or is it strictly only tank mixing with liquids?
Yes, this is a tank mix. It's sprayable or irrigation, correct. So whether it's an actual liquid fertilizer you're putting into a tank or a bag of urea or potassium nitrate or sulfate of potash that you're going to melt down in the tank. So right, it has to be coming out of a spray tank or irrigation system, correct.
Okay. One other question, will it affect your crabgrass pre-emergence at all if you're tank mixing with a pre-emergence and a post-emergence at the same time?
No, you can mix. Again, they've done quite an extensive testing of all the combinations that are out there, but like any other company, they give that clause. You know, it's up to you to go ahead and do a little bit of a tank mix. I personally would actually recommend, when you're getting into doing some mixing of chemicals like that, to do a little test site. But from everything that they've seen, there's been no problem. You still want to use the blending order, and I'll get to that towards the end. But no, you can do multiple products.
Okay. Since I got the microphone and the stage here, one other question that maybe you'll get to with fungicides. Mm-hmm. We spray, mainly there's residential turf that we do, or not golf.
Okay.
But spraying fungicides, we spray out of machines that we can possibly get 3/4 of a gallon per 1,000 of carrier down on residential. Can this nanotechnology help improve the systemic function of the fungicide, being at a lower carrier volume? Most of the fungicides require 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons per 1,000.
So you are already seeing good results at that. What did you just tell me? How many ounces?
Yeah, with higher end fungicides, like specifically Exemplar, we can get pretty good control. We're seeing at like 3/4 of a gallon per 1,000 total volume.
Right. Yeah, the way it's explained to me is that if you are already seeing a particular result with what you're doing, again, remember, it's to make what you are already doing better. So you can do what you're doing now and, for example, bump back the fungicide amount 10%. Okay. Evaluate, did I get the same or better result with a 10% reduction? From there, you would then go, all right, I did. Go another 5% or another 10%. And you'll find out that your comfort zone will probably be in that 20, 25%, maybe 30% reduction. That's in AI. That's not the overall volume that you're. Okay, you're talking about that volume. You want to get that volume even less.
Well, I mean, ideally
or not.
No, I'm looking. I mean, we particularly spray 1/2 gallon to 3/4 of a gallon per 1,000 out of spray machines. So we're just trying, as the label on all the fungicides state, you need the higher volume of water carrier to be able to get it systemically into the plant, right? So we don't have that capability. We're not running high volume machines. So my question was, would the nanotechnology help facilitate, I guess, the systemic properties in a lower volume carrier to be able to get into that plant a little bit more efficiently?
Absolutely, you're talking. That's right. That's the whole idea of the nanotechnology is that getting it into the plant and then translocating it within the plant. On the ag side of things, downy mildew is a son of a gun in some of your large leaf produce on the underside, and they have a very hard time. You know, these guys know that they should have the proper equipment to spray both sides of the leaf, but they don't. So they have a hard time spraying the top of the leaf and getting it to translocate through into the bottom. This has shown to be a very big help in that industry in getting it into the plant and to the place where it needs to be. So I'm thinking, yes, it's going to definitely, we should see some good results with it.
Great, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to move into the nutrient side of things. The nutrient products are different in that NanoPro comes to you hollow. It's a hollow nanoparticle. And they have found that these nanoparticles, it depends what they're made of. They've done the research as to what ingredient works the best with what they need to do. So it could be a clay nanoparticle, it could be a calcium silicate nanoparticle, it could be a carbon-based nanoparticle. But again, the NanoPros are hollow. The nutrient products all come charged. So Nano N Plus is pretty much the all-around product for helping the nutrients that you spray or put through an irrigation system to work better. It has just a little touch of humic acid in it, and it's a 100 analysis. But it basically works the same way. At the plant, they go ahead and take a hollow particle. They take their nitrogen. It builds up on the outside of the particle. Then from higher concentration to lower, it works its way into the particle, and a little bit remains on the outside. The neat thing is that whatever fertilizer that you're already using, again, you could probably take it and start off right away with reducing it 10%. But there's enough of an electrical charge that it's going to take the product that you're using and attach it to the outside and help move that into the plant. Once it's in the plant, it pretty much unloads the same way as it's loaded. You'll have a high concentration within a cell, or within the particle, inside a cell, low on the outside. So now it starts to reverse and work its way back out of the nanoparticle and into the plant. Next is NanoPhos. Wonderful product as a starter. Wonderful product for landscapers working with ornamentals, wanting to push phosphorus. Potassium product. Again, for those fellows that are having a hard time getting potassium into the plant, works well with potassium nitrate, works well with liquid versions. It does use a unique source of potassium. They use potassium acetate, which has been shown to be really the most efficient foliar absorbed form of potassium. NanoGrow, again, another real good starter product. I'd encourage people with sod farms. It's a real good way to get seedling off to a good start. The nano, putting the nutrients out with the nano product actually helps get the nutrients through the seed coat. So you do get to stimulate the seed and get it started, along with the little bit of biostimulant that's in here. There's some humic acid, a little bit of kelp extract. So it has been shown to get seedlings off to a quicker start and a more robust start. The other thing that has been found with NanoGrow, For fellows that have sand greens and teas, or even sandy soils for that matter, over time, use with NanoGrow has shown CEC, soil CECs to actually rise. One good reason for that is there is a good carbon content that is put into the product, as well as the carrier itself. So it does help to raise CEC. Another very good product is their Nano Stress. It's a high phosphorus, high potassium. Those looking to help with abiotic stress, heat, water management through July and August. This is another very interesting product. It's called NanoPack. It's their micronutrient delivery system. So for fellows that have been struggling to get micronutrients into their plants, helps to take whatever you're using, make it more effective. Plus it comes already charged with some sulfur, copper, iron, manganese, and zinc. The other good thing about it is even at just 4 ounces to the acre to put in with the fertilizer that you're already using, just like I showed you before, the inside of it and the immediate outside of the nanoparticle will have the micronutrients, but there will also be an attraction to the fertilizer that you're using, your NP and K, which will be taken along on that ride with the nanoparticle into the plant. This is kind of the disclaimer I was talking to you about earlier. Again, they have done quite an extensive trial and testing of different combinations that are out there. You fellows in the landscape industry and in the turf in general do quite a bit of witch's brew. I would still do a little bit of a test on the side. At least I'll always do a jar test. The product can be stored, it's common sense, like all of our other products that we use, fungicides, fertilizer, insecticides. You don't want them to freeze, you don't want them to get real hot. Do keep it out of sunlight. So if you do get a bulk container, it can remain outside, just not in direct sunlight. And then the rules of mixing. It's simple. It's water. Actually, ignore the one on the top. I've been told that's not correct. The diagram on the bottom is the way that you go. You go with your water, your nano product, and then whatever your targeted product is, whether it's a fertilizer, nutrients that you're targeting, or if it's that particular chemical. So you may be going out and using a systemic fungicide and a contact fungicide. You would want to put in that systemic fungicide first, so that is absorbed and taken into the nanoparticle, and then towards the end, go ahead and put your contact fungicide in. For a spray tank that's going to have both a systemic fungicide and a systemic nutrient, you work with the fungicide first. So you do the water, NanoPro, the systemic fungicide, then go ahead and do the whatever nano nutrient product you want, followed by the nutrients and top it off. Here's a full listing of the products. There's a few I did not go over. Nano Rise is actually the original nutrient, all-purpose nutrient product. It's a 100, just like the Nano N. The difference is it does not have as full of a charge as the Nano N, so that some of your nutrients that you put into the tank will actually go into the nanoparticle as well as around the nanoparticle. However, the Nano N Plus does have a little bit of humic acid added to it. It is also actually a different size and different shape particle. These folks have gone so far as to recognize what shapes actually work better. So you'll find some that are spheres, you'll find some that are actually oval, and a few other shapes that work better. So possibly for fairways or large areas not as valued, Nano Rise could be an option, save you $1 or $2. But for best result, high-end Nano N Plus is the best. There is a calcium product. It's actually a calcium silicate product, which works very well. That's it. Tom, back to you folks. Any questions?
Thank you, Chris. Does anybody have any questions for Chris? Anyone?
I'll talk one thing I just remembered. The sod production, another benefit besides saving on material and quickness of getting a product to market, they found that the tensile strength in the sod seems to be a lot better. Basically, again, you're making better use of those nutrients and you're growing a better, healthier, stronger plant. So I encourage you folks to think about it, try it. You're going to see a lot more of it. It really is the way things are going to be.